So, Vile Riley, I see you made a video about this interaction on our little corner of YouTube world here with Tasco and the Fixer, which, you know, you mentioned me in the video, so I'm glad you did, because, you know, it's been a while since I made a video and gives me something to do, some video to make. And what I thought I would do is just kind of give my impression of both of these people, because I don't think taking a side is really what I would call anything that goes on here in YouTube. I take everything one person at a time. I judge you based on what I see of you. I judge Tasco based on how I've interacted with Tasco. I judge Chad, how I've interacted with Chad. I mean, Chad and I have never really talked much. We've watched each other's videos, so we don't really have, but I think we have this mutual, you know, understanding of each other. And when we first met, I was making fun of his rap or whatever, but Chad's an alright guy to me now. I mean, if he's really 19, I don't know, Chad, is that really your real age? He's like a year older than my son, so it's like, you know, I don't have any beef with that guy. But I digress. I want to talk about Tasco in this video. Tasco and I guess the first time I ever got into anything with him was, I didn't get into anything with him. He just commented on a video that I made to Prince Christopher, I believe. Calling him out on the bet that he said, I'll bet you that 70% of Republicans are actually Democrats, blah, 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 blah. And so he made a comment in passing. I don't even really remember what that is. I could probably go back to the video. I think it was on the video. Maybe it was a private message, but I've deleted all my private messages and I still have that one that's stuck there. So, but anyways, so I can barely remember Tasco sending that message. And I remember, and it's the first thing I do when somebody sends me a message, and I'm pretty sure that we're all like this. Click on the old name and see the profile, and let's see if this person has any videos. I particularly like to do that with the people that have criticism for what we do. Because, you know, if you're going to criticize my videos, how about have some of your own so that I can see what you do. So Tasco certainly had plenty of videos to watch. And he wasn't criticizing me, but so I just looked at it, you know, briefly. But me and the Mask don't really get along too well. The Mask, not Tasco himself, but I didn't like the Mask. I remember looking at that and thinking, you know, I don't get why people would do that. I saw some criticism of the people that wear masks from someone, I think it might have been Chad, in fact. Back before I really was involved with any of these people. But anyway, so that was my first impression, was like, you know, I didn't have a real opinion. I could just barely remember, like I said, barely remember even looking at his video or looking at his profile. Just, I saw the Mask and I thought, well, whatever. So then, excuse me, fast forward a couple weeks or whatever it was. I remember sitting around one day, I think it was probably Saturday, and what am I going to make a video on? So I decided I'd make one to Vile Riley, to you, dude. And so I carried the camera around my house and did the little food thing and all that, you remember. And I asked in that video, what's the story with that scary looking broad with the freaking crap on her face? Because, I mean, it's just not a presentable look. So I had to, you know, I saw where she was like calling you out, and I wanted to know the story, and you explained it to me, and that offended Tasco. I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know about Riley, but this is just the way I want you to know how I'm seeing it. So he comes on in private message and basically says, hey, you know, you should know about your friend before you open your mouth. And I was like, you know, I don't care who you are. when you come on and say to me, when you use language like, oh, don't open your mouth, you know, I'm going to be like automatically saying, all right, let's do something on this guy, because he's just asked for, you know, he's inviting me to come and poke fun at something. But I don't think I even really did that. I could go back and watch the video I made, my first impression, but I was making fun of the fact that he was sticking up for this woman or whatever it was. So we definitely, then he came back and, oh, that really set him off. And so I made another one back to him. And it was all to me, and I'm sure to Tasco as well, it was just kind of all in the context of YouTube. I knew at the time that Tasco was a Marine, or I didn't know he was retired, but I knew he'd spent some time in the Corps. He didn't know, however, that I was in the Army, I don't think. But later on, and probably due in part to Fixer, we both got to talking a little bit about, you know, oh, he was surprised that I was in the Army for 20 years, over 20 years. He said that. I was surprised. He said, what did you do? Work in the child line, or some snide remark? Well, I worked in Army aviation for 20 years, fixing helicopters and running maintenance shops and doing the things that aviation NCOs do. So we just kind of both talked. So we can appreciate the fact that both of us, I mean, I look at Tasco and I know he did 20 years in the Marine Corps, 23 years I believe. So part of me automatically is going to relate to that because it's military. And I know that Tasco's been through some of the same things that I've been through. In fact, he was a recon guy, so he's done more of the what you would consider hoo-ah stuff. You know, I worked on helicopters, so I work like I'm more like a guy that you would see down at the airport than he would be. He did stuff that there's really no civilian equivalent to, you know, a recon guy. He spent much of his time in the Marines with that. But anyways, so Fixer called the things that we do a sheltered life, which we both kind of laughed about that. We sent, and I guess we did this on one of his videos so everybody could read the conversation we had with each other. You can call the military whatever you want. Sheltered life, I don't think that Tasco and I would agree with that. I mean, sure, job security in the military is pretty good. You don't have to worry about getting fired tomorrow. But sheltered, I don't know. You do have to worry about where am I going to be living next year at this time. My kids like it here, and my wife has friends here, and well, maybe 2-3 months from now, I'll be going to Germany, or I'll be going to some place completely frickin' away from where I'm at now. It's always part of your life. I moved, in 20 years, I moved 10 times. That's an average of a move every 2 years. I'm not whining about it, but it certainly isn't a sheltered life. So I think Tasco and I both kind of came to, and I don't want to speak for you, Tasco, if you're watching this, but at least from my perspective, I don't have any beef with you. You know, with Tasco, his videos, he made the one comment on this I'm Too Sexy video, and I watched it. It was pretty funny. I mean, the crabs thing, what he did with the girl, I can't remember her name, but anyways, I thought that was pretty funny. So that's my impression of Tasco. I can respect his military service. That's about as far as it goes, because I don't know him in real life. He doesn't let people into much because of the mask. I mean, that to me, that's a barrier in communication with which whatever he does that for, why he does that, I don't know. I don't think it's a good idea. I would never do it, but you know, he gets to do what he wants to do. So that's where I come at from the point of view of Tasco. Now, my next video will be my impression and my interaction with Fixer.